It is. Okay. After you complete, and I'm not done with my snout yet. I haven't added the bottom or anything like that. But when you're done with the snout, you're going to start adding ears or anything else to the head that you might need to add. So we talked a little bit about cheekbones and extra clay on the head if you need to. But if you're doing ears, one thing I just want to talk to you about, you want to make them as realistic as possible. Obviously, that is the goal of this project. So if you make an ear by hitting a slab out and then cutting a triangle, this is probably not super realistic, okay? So anything that you make that you add to your animal, you want to actually mold in your hand. So instead of making a triangle, I would take a piece of clay and I would just start to mold it into an ear. The part that is going to attach to the egg needs to be a little bit thicker. Okay, so if this is my ear, I'm just molding here, making this ear. Okay, it's going to be thicker on the bottom, and it can be thinner on the top, but it needs to be pretty thick so it has something to attach to. Obviously, this is a little bit big. Okay, so I would cut this a little bit. Okay, and continue to mold it. But you can see that it's bigger here, and then it can get thinner if you need it to. I would recommend making both ears before you attach them, because if you attach one and then you have to make one that matches, it's going to be more difficult than having them both unattached. Make sense? Okay. So you'll slip and score this on. You might need to add some clay behind it, depending on how thick it is, to give it some stability. All right. So after you slip and score it on, if it doesn't feel stable, add some clay behind it, smooth it out, and give it some support. Okay. So you'll add ears, anything else to the head that you might need. And then the next step is to attach the head and the body. Okay, so you'll get your body egg out and decide how it's going to sit. So I am making a cat that's sitting down like this. So it's going to sit like that. Okay, actually this is kind of a thicker end on the bottom, so I'm going to turn it also like this. Okay, and these are going to be pretty wet, so if you need to, you can put them by the fan for a little while. But before I actually attach the head, I'm just going to kind of shape it a little bit. Okay, it might kind of go in the middle. If you have an animal like a turtle or something, you might need to shape the egg before you start. Okay, and once you kind of have it, whatever shape you want, you're going to attach the head. What's wrong? Oh, yeah. Okay, make sure the bat's dry. Dry the bat off before you put it back on. Okay, so if I was attaching this head right here, okay, it actually stays. Normally it doesn't, but these are both round, so you would have a hard time balancing them. So you want a flat surface wherever you attach to these eggs. So I'm just going to take my paddle and I'm going to hit it, okay, so that they really can stay together. So now there's more surface area touching. All right. The other thing we have to do before we attach it is the most important part. Okay, at the end of your project, you are going to turn your animal over and you're going to put a hole in the bottom. So that means that this will no longer be an air pocket. But this is still an air pocket, okay? Rather than putting it a hole somewhere where you can see it, we're going to put a hole in the head and in the body, and they're going to line up, okay? So that when we put a hole in the bottom, the air can go up through the bottom, into the head, and then back out. All right, so with the carving tool, which I forgot to call, you are going to put a hole. Sorry about that. All right, you're going to put a hole here, so you're just going to stab it, and you're going to cut open the head. Okay, and then you're going to stab this and cut it open. And then you just need to make sure that they line up just a little bit, just enough for air to get through. All right, if you have an animal that has kind of a neck, this cat really doesn't have much of a neck, maybe a little bit of one. You could take a coil and slip and score it around the hole. And then you can slip and score the head there. And then you could add some clay and smooth it, and now it has a neck. If it has a taller neck, add 2 coils. Okay? But make sure that air can go. If there's a hole in the bottom, we're not going to put a hole in the bottom yet, but if there's a hole in the bottom, the air can go in through the neck and back out. Okay, so you'll slip and score this. Your head is going to be really dry compared to your body, so when you score it, you need to score it really well. Okay, like that. Don't make little tiny score marks. That does no good. So score it really, really well. Add a lot of slip. Okay, score here, score here. If you're gonna have a quail, score the quail. Really push down, add slip, and make sure that's stuck. All right, I would suggest adding a quail around the outside and smoothing it out just for more stability. Okay, once you have attached, I know this is a lot of information, but once you've attached the head and the body, you're gonna start making the body features. If you look at this picture, and I know you can't see it very well, you can sort of see the cat thigh, okay? You can see the arms. This is science. Are you ready? So I got so excited, I messed up like that. It's actually, I think it's anatomy. Your arm goes up into your shoulder. Okay? Your leg goes to your thigh, which goes to your butt. Those are true statements. Your animals are the same way. Okay? So you have to add the muscles that you would see in your animals. So look at your picture. When I look at this picture, I see the thigh muscle in here. So I'm going to take some clay and add it to the thigh. I probably need more than this. Now, if you add it, so this is really rough. I know it's not going to look great right now. But if you're going to add the thigh, if you guys can see this, now it looks like the Michelin Man sort of like. Okay, so if you're going to add something, push in a little bit where that thigh is going to go, and then add a thigh. Makes sense? If you're going to add arms, push in where the arms are going to go, and then you can add, you know, the little, you know how the arms sit in front. And then you could add the little foot on the bottom. This is a horrible example, but you can see where we're going. Okay, so you see how you would have, you need to make room for these thighs. And this thigh is too far up because his butt's back here, right? So I would actually need more clay because your thigh and your butt are connected. Okay, so think about the way that your animal is made and add anything to the body that's going to make it look less like an egg and more like your animal. Yes?
If they're sitting down, then do you still have to like make the butt like to detail?
No, I mean if it's on the table, no. But you will still probably have to add some clay to make it look like there's muscle under it. And also that reminded me, you might put your head and your body together and realize that your body is too big or too small. Okay? If you feel that way as soon as you look at it, I would suggest just making a new egg. All right? Another option is cutting it in half, taking a little bit off, making it smaller. Okay? You can also add another pinch pot. So if I had a pinch pot here, I could add another one on top of here. I could put a hole here, and I could put another, like a bigger pinch pot on top of here and smooth it out so it looks like one big egg if you want to just add to it instead of making a new one. So there's a couple different things you can do. So if you have a question, ask me about that. Okay, but you do want to make sure they're proportionally correct before you actually start adding stuff to it. All right, so that is it for the animals as far as things I'm showing you how to do. From now on, it's more specific to your animal. So if you have a question, please ask me. Okay? All right, that's it. Where did you guys get those? Where? Can you? Okay, because I have some in my office. I thought maybe you guys went.
We went
Yeah.
crazy.
Scavengering.